Hi everyone, I am doing an experiment today to see if I just like standard romance books. I haven't really read that many. I know I love romance books when there's fae, when there's dragons, when it's a side plot to an epic fantasy novel. And I also love romance books when one of the characters is a human. I love aliens, I love monsters, all sorts of those things. But I haven't really been reading just two humans in normal everyday life fall in love. I've read some historical romance. I liked the Bridgerton books, but just everyday life 2025 or 2020 or 2010 even, people just meet at work and fall in love is just not something that I've read a lot of. So I'm going to challenge myself to get a little bit out of my comfort zone and read some more standard romance books. Now with some of these I might be cheating just a little bit, but I have some lined up that I think will get me to explore this a little bit more. If I mess up on my picks, which I very much might have because I don't know what I'm doing here, let me know what I should have read in the comments. So in line with what I am doing, I picked up an Emily Henry. I have never read an Emily Henry before, as popular as she is, and even people in my life who don't read very much have read an Emily Henry. So I got People We Meet on Vacation. I think that this is a friends to lovers romance from what I know, and I feel like this is as standard as I can get for two people who are humans fall in love in a romance book. So this is like the number one pick for me to know. Percy, he's not a big fan of neighbors using their own backyard. A little bit of a protector. Anyway, all I was saying is I think this is a good litmus test to see if I just like contemporary romance. This next one is kind of cheating because there's like a little bit of a supernatural / magical realism influence in it. But I think that a lot of people who like contemporary romance tend to really like this one. And that is the 7-Year Slip. And I know that there is like one of those things going on where it's like they are experiencing the same place, but they're in different times and they're like 7 years apart somehow. So there is a little bit of a supernatural element to it, meaning I'll probably like it, to be honest. But I think that it still has sort of a contemporary feel, so I'm going to go ahead and pick up this one in this experiment as well. Third, I am going to pick up a book that I know is known for having a lot of spice, and it's also a sports romance, and that is Icebreaker. I have read some spicy books before, especially ones that are more in the dark romance category, or in, like I said, that monster / alien romance category, but I don't think I've really read that many sports romances, or very many where two people just fall in love in college and there's a lot of spice. So this is the popular pick for that, I think, and I'm gonna give this a try. And this last one might be the one where I'm probably cheating the most, but I'm just gonna slip it in there with the rest of these books because I've been wanting to read it and I've actually owned this one for a while, and that is Under Lock and Key. This is definitely has like a contemporary romance idea in Scotland, but I know that there's like the Loch Ness monster involved. So I am cheating by getting myself interested in a romance by including a monster, but I don't care. I think this is going to be cute, and I'm going to just throw this in with the rest of them. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with People We Meet on Vacation, and as soon as I read enough to have an opinion, I'll let you know if I can stand the plot of a standard romance book, and if I can keep this video going. So I'm about halfway done with this book, and what I do recognize is that it's really well written. She has all of these good metaphors, and the way she does her dialogue is very engaging, and it's not a mystery to me at all how these books have gotten so popular. It is really skill, and it's really being a good author. That being said, I still don't think that this is a genre I would just generally gravitate towards from reading this. Maybe it's because I'm kind of reading like this friends to lovers story. We're following these two people people in 2 different timelines, and it just shows their friendship over the years. In the past, we get to see everything that's happened to them up to this point, and in the present, we know that they've recently had a big fight, but they're kind of rekindling that friendship, and they have all of these yearly events where they go on a big summer vacation together, and that's where we get a lot of the friendship development. I haven't really read that many friendship to lover stories before, and I don't know if they're just like a little bit too slow burn for me to some extent. Like, I just feel like I'm getting into the minutia of their life quite a bit, which is to some extent nice because it seems to be a situation where you really get to learn the characters. But I don't know if this is like the type of genre I would generally gravitate towards all the time. So obviously, very good book. We'll see how I continue enjoying this book, if not enjoy this book more as we get more into the romance-heavy side of the book. Right now, I'm at the library. I do have to say bye to a couple books, but hopefully I can walk around and just enjoy the atmosphere for a minute. I really like going to the library. So I finished People We Meet on Vacation, and I'm just feeling like this one wasn't super for me. It was a very, very slow burn, which I'm not necessarily opposed to. You know what, maybe I am in standard romances because I feel like a lot of the slow burns I've liked in the past were in genres where there was more going on than just the romance. That being said, this one was like, you didn't even really feel the tension between the characters, in my opinion, as you had their friendship. So you were just reading about a friendship for 10 years. And then it wasn't until like 75% of the way into the book that you started getting a little bit of romance. And by the time it started, it's kind of like I didn't care because the tension didn't really feel built up to me. Like I said, this is still a well-written book. There's a lot of good dialogue and a lot of good metaphors and a lot of good wittily written sentences. That being said, I just don't think this is for me. Like, did I pick the wrong Emily Henry? Is there another one you would suggest I've read if you were a fan of Emily Henry? I'd be interested to know. I'm not giving up yet, though. I am going to go ahead and move on and try the 7-Year Slip. I am optimistic about this one because of the element of that time difference between the main characters. I think that supernatural element might be exactly what I need to stay interested and enjoy the romance in the story. So I'm going to go ahead and read this book and let you know what I think. This is so good. I'm about halfway into it, and we're following this girl named Clementine, and she has inherited her deceased aunt's apartment. She was really close to her aunt, and her aunt always said the apartment was magical. Of course, she didn't really believe her aunt. She just thought she was a little bit eccentric. But she did hear some stories from her aunt's times. One in particular happened when her aunt was younger, and her aunt walked into her apartment, and there was another woman there. And it was like this 7-year difference in time that they were experiencing with each other. And she falls in love with this woman, but it doesn't end up well. So her aunt, Clementine's aunt, has a rule that says when you enter the apartment, first take off your shoes, and second, never fall in love. Now that her aunt is gone and she is getting over experiencing grief from her aunt's death, she ends up finding this guy in her apartment who sublet the apartment while her aunt was on a vacation in Norway 7 years ago. He has a goal to become a chef. He's going out and getting a job as a dishwasher, and every night when she comes home, he makes her dinner. Except even as she's starting to feel things for him, she doesn't want to tell him about the 7-year slip because she does not think he will believe her. This is absolutely adorable. I probably won't end up talking more about the plot than than that, because beyond that I believe would probably be spoiler territory. But I am having such a good time, and I am so happy that I continued reading romance books, because I think that this element of this supernatural time slip really keeps me engaged, but also the writing is just so cute, and I'm in my feels. I'll update you again once I'm done with this book, just to verify that I'm still feeling the same way. I had so much fun with this one, more so than just the romance between the two characters. It also has a focus on self-discovery and dreams, and just how to live a fulfilling life that you're happy to be living. The couple in this book were really cute. I feel like they were really well matched, and I enjoyed every second of it. Now, it could be critiqued for sure if someone wants to be nitpicky. It did feel a little insta-lovey, but I think the magic surrounding the story made the insta-love pretty much acceptable to me. So at this point, I can consider this experiment of reading romance books a success, because this one actually worked for me. Next, I'm going to go ahead and continue on my journey and pick up Icebreaker just to explore the sports romance genre. Last time I went ice skating, I fell on my butt and had to seek out a first aid kit, so this is not me reading this because I'm into sports or because I'm good at sports, but because I know they're popular and I think it's more about the romance anyway. If this ends up being mainly about sports, I'm probably going to DNF it. Once I have read enough of Icebreaker to form an opinion, I'll check back in and let you know what I'm thinking. So I don't know what I was expecting. This is a sports romance in college, and I think this is okay. I'm enjoying it enough, but I'm not really that entertained by it. I think I'm kind of past the age where I want the protagonist to be in college to some extent, but I also just feel like there's a whole lot of characters and a little bit of unnecessary drama, and there's something to like the casual hookup culture that I just don't really like, and I never really experienced it myself. They're always at parties. I never partied myself, and I don't feel like I really missed out on that. So this is kind of like the cool kids finding relationships, and I just never cared about that. I do like that in this book, the male main character is more into the female main character than she is into him. I kind of like that golden retriever energy, so I'm here for that. And there's definitely some interesting scenes that were fun, but overall it's just, they're kind of young. I kind of don't care about their personalities or their friend groups. And I kind of don't care about sports either, so I don't know why I thought that this would be a pick that would get me to like romance. But so far, it's really just okay. It's okay enough to finish it, so I'll finish it and let you know if I've changed my mind by then. But it's just okay. Okay, time for a mini rant. So I've only ever read 2 sports romances before. This is the one I'm reading right now, and this one I read a few months ago. In both of these books, I guess very minor spoiler warning, there are teammates of the main character that are deeply annoying and get in the way of the romance, and it's like they're using the teammates being annoying as a major drama plot point. That is dumb. I don't think I really like romances when the drama between the 2 main characters is not about them, but is about some third party that is just super, super annoying. I'm done with it. I'm sick of this. So I can see how this could be for someone. This just ended up not being for me. I feel like there was some actual chemistry between the main characters and the relationship was okay, but the amount of drama that is thrown into this book, oh my goodness. I was just angry most of the time while I was reading this because of how stupid some of these friendships are. It was almost like I couldn't suspend my disbelief for how ridiculous some of the plot points were in this book, which is completely hypocritical and someone else could do so easily, but I could more easily believe the plot points in a book that included magical realism and fantasy than this little silly romance. Now, if you like this, good for you. and there's tons of people who are there with you, and I'm the odd one out, so don't take my opinion too seriously on this, but I just could not get on board. I do have one more chance though. Hopefully we go for 2 for 4. We already have 1 success. I have the book Under Lock and Key, and this has the Loch Ness Monster in it. It's in Scotland, and if there's anything that's going to get me interested in a romantic book, it's going to be a Scottish man. I love Outlander, so if he is half as appealing as Jamie, this is going to be a win for me, and I'll be able to end this vlog on a positive note. So as soon as I've read some of this book, I'll come back and I'll let you know if this one is good.
Okay, before we move on, we have to talk about how beautiful this book is. Just look at this. Look at this artwork. This is gorgeous. The sprayed edges on the side. Oh, better this way. This is so pretty. Okay, moving on.
Whereas the plot of the last book I read was kind of spiking my blood pressure and just making me angry, this one has been cute and cozy so far. We're following Key, who goes to Scotland for the first time to try to meet her estranged grandparents after the death of her father. Her father clearly got into a fight with her grandparents before she was born, and she's never met them, she doesn't know who they are, and she doesn't know why the family was estranged to begin with, but she wants to get closer to her family and seek out her roots because she misses her father and because she wants to have some connection to him from his childhood. While she's there visiting her family, she meets Lachlan Greer and becomes mixed up in a mystery plot regarding different Scottish folklore, including the Loch Ness Monster and Selkies. They are working together to try to break a curse. They start off on the wrong foot as he calls her stupid for the first action she does when she meets him, and it turns into an enemies to lovers / forbidden romance type story. I'm enjoying this so far. It's cozy, it's atmospheric, it really scratches that itch I had to read a Scottish inspired book, and it's cute. I'll get back to you in a second about my final thoughts. So I just finished this book, and while it might not be the most memorable romance I'm ever going to read, it was cute. I really liked how the 2 main characters had to work together and look into their family histories in order to solve the mystery of a curse. Having a cozy little mystery embedded within a monster romance was fun, and there was nothing really wrong with it. If you want to spend a little cozy time in Scotland, I would recommend this. And just for fun, I'm going to go ahead and rank all of the books I just read and talk about what I'm going to want in romances going forward. In 4th place, I have People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I think I felt bored a lot of the time I was reading this, even though it wasn't that poorly written. Like I said, none of these books were bad. The friends to lover plot line might not have worked for me, and it just didn't feel like the tension was building up, and it just felt like I was wanting the book to be over halfway into it. In 3rd place, we have Icebreaker. We just did not need all that this has. This just has too much going on. This is just crazy. Just have friends that get along, date, and be happy. It also kind of felt like some of the plot lines were a little contrived and some things were set up to happen in a way that did not feel natural to me. I think I would have loved this book 10 years ago, so take that with a grain of salt. In 2nd place, I have Under Lock and Key. This was cozy, it was nice, it had a little bit of a mystery plot. Of course, the inclusion of a monster subplot is going to get me excited, so this one worked well enough for me. However, I did gain a new favorite in this video, and that is The 7-Year Slip. The inclusion of magical realism and this time-bending apartment was just so fun, and the romance was cute, the dialogue was cute, the commentary on the change we go through from different phases in our life was nice, and there was nothing that I would have done to change this book at all. I would highly recommend this one to anyone trying to explore the romance genre more. I don't like every romance book I read, but this one was a hit. I did have a really fun time with this video, and I do want to find romances that I would really like to read in the future. From this video, I did learn that I do actually prefer the books that have magical realism or monsters or fantasy subplots. I already knew that. I also kind of discovered that I do care about the premise. I'm not really into sports romances. I'm not really into maybe friends to lovers. Maybe I would be in a different situation. That being said, I would like to find a romance that is just more of a standard romance that doesn't have the fantasy subplot or a magical realism subplot that I could fall in love with. If you think that there's a book out there that would somehow match my preferences that does that, let me know in the comments because I want to explore it again. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. I'm going to sign off now. Bye.